Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Woof Wednesdays. Yes, we are back for Woof Wednesdays. It's been, I think the last episode was June 24th, so the end of June. So it's been over a month, basically 2 months as we approach the end of August here. I do want to apologize. I took a little bit of a break from Woof Wednesdays. The University of Washington news, athletics-wise, was moving relatively slowly. Nobody was really doing anything. There were updates here and there from Meetup Football, um, some commitments here and there, um, but nothing really that constituted the entire show to go on. And I also know that on our socials we have been slacking behind, so I do want to apologize for that. We've been trying to keep a focus largely on improving what we've got for how we report the live games for the professional teams, all 7 of them, and just trying to work on improving what we got, trying to really embrace the photography work that we've got and such like that, and working on different things for Circling Seattle Sports as a whole. So, with that being said, um, there's some exciting seasons beginning for our UW athletics. Women's soccer has already kicked off. Men's soccer is just around the corner. In a few days here, volleyball the same. Football next week. Men's and women's basketball a few months from now. Men's and women's hockey. I'm sure they're coming. So it's an exciting time as these seasons begin for these fall teams, and we're excited to be there for these games and to cover these teams and hopefully work on some more interviews for you as we kick off. I'm sure that's where some of you actually found our show, found Circling Seattle Sports. So taking all that, we're going to jump right into some, I wouldn't say it's minor, but it's not exactly this big swath of football news we have. The University of Washington football team announced their starting quarterback for week 1 of the 2022 season. Michael Penix Jr. will be the starter for the Huskies. He is named the number 1 guy on the depth chart. Number 2 will be Dylan Morris, the returning man, and Sam Heward will get the number 3 spot on the depth chart. This is just to begin the year. So, I saw a lot of Twitter backlash that, this was going to force Heward was going to transfer, or, just what this said about Sam Heward. So, I don't buy into that necessarily. I'm sure with the Penix move, this was a big DeBoer decision. I mean, if we look at the numbers here with Penix, in terms of yearly passer rating, 2018, 125.6. That would have ranked 8 amongst Big Ten QBs. He didn't qualify for that year, though. 2019, 157.6 would have been 3rd in the Big Ten. 2020, 136.5, 5th. So, those aren't bad numbers there. And then in terms of when Indiana and Michael Penix Jr. played in Power 5 games in his starts, over the course of 13 games, Indiana had an 8-5 record, 23 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 28 points per game. In those games, in Power 5 games, when Indiana didn't have Penix Jr. start, that same sort of time frame, there was the course of 15 games. The team went 3-12 on the year, 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 18.6 points per game. So it's not like Penix is bad. That's not. I don't want that to become a narrative. I'm sure it's just, hey, Heward was this big recruit. Obviously, there's the lineage there at the University of Washington. It's. I'm sure this is a big reaction. I understand that, but I don't think this is cause for him to transfer. Watch, this will be something where I say that, and then that happens. Knock on the wood. I don't think that'll happen, but it'll be really interesting to see even a few games in, let alone at the midway point of the season, where we sit at depth chart wise, starter wise. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. But for week 1, Michael Penix Jr. is your starter for the University of Washington football team. Moving over here, no basketball news really. The schedules are out, so if you want to check that out, UW Athletics has the schedule. Holy crap, that's a big spider. Oh my goodness. Hold on, we're going to take care of this right now. Jesus. Oh, dear Jesus. Sorry, that thing was gigantic. Oh, God. Heebie-jeebies. Okay, we'll try to continue the show like normal. We head over to men's soccer here. So, men's soccer has not yet officially kicked off their season, but there is some news regarding the team, preseason standings, and all of that. For the second time in 3 seasons, UW has been picked to finish at the top of the Pac-12 standings in a sort of weird tie with Oregon State. The voters, I guess, could not pick a decisive favorite, so UW and Oregon State are who are picked to sit atop the Pac-12, similar to this past few seasons. And then the Huskies were ranked number 2 in the nation's preseason poll. So certainly some lofty expectations for UW men's soccer coming off of the national title appearance, but also losing, several key contributors, obviously Dylan Teves, Charlie Ostrom, Kendall Burks, Lucas Meek, Ryan Saylor, ton of guys that are gone. A ton of huge contributors, but also on the flip side of that, knowing that there's a huge number of contributors. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye out. That thing was gigantic, and I don't want to see another one. On the flip side of things, guys, bunch of guys coming back. Sam Fowler in net, Gio Miglietti, so at the end of the day, obviously getting some key returns, as well as some other additions, but also knowing that, wondering, how the team will be able to account for some of those losses up and down the starting 11, let alone the bench. It'll be really interesting to see how that all takes place. Miglietti, having him back on the defensive side of things will be really big. It'll be interesting to see how that move works out. Having Christian Soto back in the lineup, it'll be really interesting. I'm really intrigued to watch this men's soccer team play this season. I'll be there on Thursday when they play versus Sacramento State. But yes, seeing how they account for those losses, who maybe blossoms in these new roles and these new holes that have been opened. I'm really intrigued by that to see how that goes. So looking at that, their upcoming games for the UW men's soccer team take place August 25th versus Sacramento State. Let's say 7:30 p.m. Kickoff at Husky Soccer Field. And then the other game this upcoming week is August 29th versus Central Arkansas, a 7:30 p.m. kick as well, also at Husky Soccer Field. I don't know if we'll be at that one Monday. We'll see about that. We've got recording that day. So see you there for Sacramento State, but excited to see how they kick that off. And again, it's a really interesting team to me, just considering the losses of guys like Teves and Ostrom, Burks, Saylor, Meek, and to see who steps up. I mean, this is a big opportunity for several guys to say, hey, this is my spot now. This is my starting role. And you get to see how I fit into this. So I'm really excited to watch that. All of that being said, taking all of that intrigue and excitement, and now looking over the women's soccer team, I was really excited to see how they performed before the season kicked off. And then we get over to our scores portion here for UW women's soccer. And I mean, look at this, 3-0 and then 5-0. August 18th versus Fresno State, the UW women's soccer team won 3-0. Our player of the game for that one was forward Carly Stuckel. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 shots, and 53 minutes played. If I mispronounce the last name, please feel free to correct me. And don't have to be rude about it in the comments, and I can take care of that. But come through and smash Fresno State. I know that friend of the show, Liv Sakani, got started the game, and they were able to get Olivia Juarez to start to take over the rest of the game. So sort of a split clean sheet. I don't like how that doesn't really give the clean sheet to one person. I get it, but and I think in our stats we might just do that anyways. And then August 21st versus Air Force, a 5-0 win. UW totaling 8 goals over the stretch of those two games. Our player of the game for that one was midfielder Tatum Tomasin, 1 goal, 2 shots, 1 shot on target, and 51 minutes played. It was kind of tough to pick a sole player of the game there, but I went with the midfielder. And I mean, this is a huge start. 8 goals and those 2 shutout wins to begin the year. Nice to get those at home. Following that start, the Huskies have received votes in the UW and the United Soccer Coaches poll. So interested to see how that all amasses. But this is a great start. I mean, it's exciting. I was at a lot of these, well, not a lot, but a decent amount of these games last year for the team. And it was tough, but it's a new year, and there was intrigue. Livy Vanderjagt obviously going to the OL Reign in the NWSL draft. A couple other players, Amir Hassan, Jess Cowart, who's having great success with the Philippines women's national team. So if you have come here for Jess, lots of appreciation, a lot of Pinoy pride here. Us Filipinos going to stick out for each other. But, again, interesting to see who comes in and fills out those spots that have been opened, who really flourishes in these new roles. So we'll look over to team-related news here. Some Summer Yates news. Summer has been a headliner as we've gotten to the beginning of the season. On the 16th, it was announced that Yates was named to the United Soccer Coaches Players to Watch list. And on the 19th, Yates was named the number 43 out of 100 player to watch in women's D1 soccer this season. If you don't know, Yates was an all Pac-12 first team player last year, an all region second team, while scoring 5 goals and recording 5 assists. Yates was the player that I thought was going to be in the NWSL draft for UW. It ended up being Vanderjagt, which I guess, in talking to Vanderjagt and Liv Sakane wasn't something that was known until really last minute. And Yates decided to come back and was really excited to come back. And I'm going to use some bad words, to kick some ass this year. And, there was some unproven things, and that's really cool. That's what you like to hear from players in the programs at your school, right? So that was exciting, and it'll be great to watch more Summer Yates this year. Also, in team-related news, if I botch this, please correct me. I apologize. Kolo Suliafo. My apologies. I'll get it right. I'll take this and I'll get better for it next week. A defender, a newcomer, was named to the top drawer soccer freshman best 11. So congratulations there, and excited to see how that plays out. So, I mean, if I have to give the gold star or the UW star of the week, I'm giving it to the entire UW women's soccer team. I mean, it was pretty damn cool to follow along with these and to get the scores out for these. It's great to be posting these scores on the CSS page for the UW teams, especially when they're what this program has done the last 2 games. So a great start, obviously. UW sits at a 2-0 record on the year so far. They sit at 3rd in the Pac-12. I know it's relatively early. Their next 2 games are August 25th at Loyola Marymount with a 4 p.m. start time, so on the road there, and then August 28th at Long Beach State, which is a 1 p.m. start. So we switch over now to UW volleyball. The volleyball team has, again, the only team that's kicked off so far, is UW women's soccer. So volleyball gearing up to begin their season. There's no game recap for you. There is team-related news. The UW volleyball team was ranked number 8 nationally in the coaches' preseason poll, so coming off of a strong finish to the year last year. Obviously, unfortunately, no title, but a Pac-12 title. but no national title. UW is ranked number 8th nationally, and so there's that for the preseason poll. And head coach Keegan Cook completed the coaching staff for the team with 3 new additions. So in addition to associate head coach Leslie Gabriel and associate coach Jason Manfield, Washington welcomes a pair of experienced newcomers in Phil Noyes, who is the director of operations, as well as Alex Simmons, who is a volunteer assistant. Coach Keegan Cook is also thrilled to have former Husky Justice McGraw moving into a new position with the program as the team's technical director. So the coaching staff gets rounded out there. The program getting some additions. So looking ahead, the volleyball team will begin their season on the road in Arkansas. They will play 2 games against the Razorbacks. August 26th at Arkansas is a 5 p.m. PST start time. And August 27th at Arkansas is a 1 p.m. start time. As always, we will have scores, players of the game. Going to work on articles. Got to catch up on UW women's soccer articles. Going to work on some interviews. Obviously, game day posts for all of these teams. 9 we cover. I think I counted. It might be more than 9, but 9 University of Washington athletics teams from UW football, UW baseball, softball, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, volleyball, and men's and women's hockey. But football, baseball, softball, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, volleyball, that's 10. I cannot count. Wow. Regardless, please bear with me. This is a late recording. Just needed to get back into the Woof Wednesdays, had to update on what we've missed and get into these exciting fall seasons. Jumbling that all up, I am Charles Hamaker, your host here. If you don't follow us on the socials, please do. Circling Seattle Sports, you can see right below me, is the Instagram. If you are on Facebook, Circling Seattle Sports, just in the search bar, it'll pop up. It's our CSS logo. You can see the older one behind me there. You can see the newer one up in the top right corner, which is boom, right there. And then on Twitter at Circling Sports, if you type in Circling Seattle Sports, it should show up as well. So until we see you next Wednesday, we're going to have some men's soccer. We're going to have some more women's soccer scores and some volleyball scores. It's an exciting time. Go Huskies.